I work for someone similar to Michael Scott from The Office, and I could write a novel about what happens in our business unit. Can you share a funny or weird thing you've seen happen in a meeting?
There's so many. I mean, I could go on and on. I'll tell you one that I often go to. Where you position yourself in a room really matters when you're using visuals like PowerPoint. And I saw a CEO really, really create a spectacle unintentionally. I was in this meeting, there was about 100 people in a room. And it was like all the leaders of this company, and they were really trying to like focus on the culture of the company and really create a moment. And they had this 2-day session that was really great. And at one point, the CEO came in, and he hadn't been at most of the session. He came in to give this like really passionate talk about culture and leadership. And it was great. It was super cool. But the challenge was he wasn't going to use any slides, and he forgot to turn off the PowerPoint projector. And this is when like PowerPoints were just on that little cart that people would move around. So there was a slide from the last person, and on the slide was just like a stock image of someone like making a joyful gesture, like that. And the CEO didn't take it down and kept getting closer and closer and closer to the PowerPoint until finally they were standing right in front of the projector, and the projector was projecting this slide right onto his chest. And either he didn't notice or didn't realize the impact that as he's speaking about this stuff, he's got this image of this person being like on his chest. And he ends he ends this like really lovely, and he's a lovely person too. He ends this really lovely talk with this statement that it's probably one of my least favorite statements that I hear people say, but he really did mean it. He said, and it's really important to know that culture eats strategy for breakfast. And he ended with his hands generally the same way the person on his chest did it, and was kind of looking at the crowd with sort of the same face, and it looked like he had like a little mini me like projected on him, like like from Total Recall when the guy comes out of him. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life, and everyone in the audience was like a mix of totally inspired and completely horrified at the same time. And nobody, including me, said anything because you kind of couldn't. It just wasn't that thing. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life, and like outside of this work. And also, it's like one of those moments of like people, w- people, someone should have said something, but nobody said anything because it was the CEO. So there's a lot of stuff in there that you could take away from like also just like why don't people say anything? It was absolutely hilarious. And the person who it was, will leave names out of it. I think you're the best if you're listening to this. And I hope you're laughing too.